Howdy, howdy, boys and girls. Thank you for joining me for another Bible drill where we're looking through the pages of the New Testament to read about and to be impressed with the great miracles of our Lord Jesus the Christ. This is probably one of the most amazing miracles that if I could go back in time and go back and get to see in person, this one that's recorded for us in Matthew the 14th chapter is probably the one that I would want to see. Actually, I'd like to see all of them, but I really would have liked to have seen this miracle being performed. Just to set things up, Jesus and the apostles have had a long day. They've been teaching, Jesus has been teaching the crowds, and this is also the occasion where Jesus had fed the 5,000. And so it's been a long day. Well, as evening went along, Jesus then sent the apostles back across the Sea of Galilee, while he himself went to a quiet place to be by himself so that he could pray. We find Jesus doing that quite often, just taking time for him and God to pray and to just communicate in that way. And that's a great lesson in and of itself, that we want to make time as well to pray and to hear God speak to us through his word, through studying our Bibles. And so Jesus sends the apostles ahead of him. Well, as they sailed into the later evening hours, the winds on the lake became very strong. We've already looked at one miracle previously where Jesus calmed the stormy sea, and we're going to see some things happening here with the storm once again, but kind of a strong wind and some storms starting to break out. The apostles were struggling to be able to steer the boat. Remember, once again, they don't have like engines on their boats. These aren't power boats where they can just speed across the water. No, they're having to do all of this manually by hand and raising the sails and moving the oars. And so the storm got stronger and stronger and stronger throughout the night, and the apostles just kept on struggling even more. Well, we're told that around 3 a.m., they saw what looked like a person on the water. Now just imagine that in and of itself. They think they're seeing somebody. It's the outline of a figure that looks like a human being actually on the water. And they became so terrified by what they saw that what they thought is that this was a ghost. And really, can you blame them for thinking that? What other explanation could there be? What other thing could you even possibly be thinking of other than, yeah, this must be some kind of a ghost, or maybe we're just, dreaming this. It's a hallucination of some sort. But it wasn't a ghost. All of a sudden, they hear this familiar voice speaking to them. This image of this person speaking out. And they recognize the voice. They maybe can't see him clearly, but they recognize the voice, and the voice says, "Do not be afraid. Take courage, for I am here." And what they then begin to realize is that this is actually the voice of Jesus. Peter then responds to the voice, and he says, "Lord, if it's really you, then tell me to come. Give me the instructions. Give me the green light and the go-ahead that I can then come out onto the water to where you are as well." And Jesus said, "Come on. Peter, you come right on." And that's pretty fitting of Peter, isn't it? Peter's always the one that seems like speaks up first. Sometimes he says things that he probably shouldn't. He puts his foot in his mouth. But here on this occasion, I kind of would have been like Peter. I would have wanted to get out of the boat and be able to walk on the water just like Jesus was, if Jesus says that I could do that. And so Jesus says, "Come on." And so Peter climbs out of the boat and he begins to walk on top of the water. That's amazing. It's not only is Jesus performing this miracle for himself, but he now is miraculously enabling Peter to walk on top of the water. And again, you got to give Peter some credit. None of the other guys got out of the boat. None of the other guys were willing to step out and to have the kind of courage that Jesus said to have. And so Peter gets out and he's walking on the water, at least temporarily. Because what's the next thing that happens if you know this story? Yeah, that's exactly right. Peter began to fear the winds and the waves, and he started looking around at all the things going on around him, and he started to sink. And so he cried out, "Lord, save me! Save me, Lord! I'm drowning! I'm going to die! Help me here! What's going on?" Peter allowed those doubts to creep back into his mind. His faith began to shrink, and as a result, he was in trouble. Thankfully, the Lord reached out, lifted him up, and then the Lord asked him, Peter, "Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt me? I'm not going to let you die. I'm going to take care of you. Why would I tell you to get out of the boat and come to me if I was just going to allow you to drown out here? Of course not. Don't have little faith. Have great faith that if I command you can do something, or if I tell you you need to do something, that you're just going to trust me fully and you're just going to do it." And so, when Jesus and Peter got back into the boat, we're told that the storm, it ends and it gets calmed, and the apostles began to worship him. And they said, "Truly, you are the Son of God." And once again, we get our reminder of one of the great, probably the most important reason why these miracles were performed is so that people would come to understand who Jesus is. He is indeed the Son of God. Thanks for listening, guys.